If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Something has to give in Cleveland. Week after week, fans are left staring at the field, shaking their heads, and wondering how a team with this much investment, this much supposed talent, can look so lifeless on offense. Through the first 6 weeks of the season, the Cleveland Browns have become a case study in offensive dysfunction, a unit that seems to find new ways to stall drives, waste possessions, and leave points on the table. It's not just bad luck anymore. It's a pattern, a rhythm of frustration that's slowly turning excitement into despair for Browns fans. And after Sunday's loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that frustration reached a breaking point. The Browns' 9-point outing wasn't just another poor showing. It was a flashing neon sign that something deeper is broken within this offense. The Steelers, known for their physicality and defensive identity, did what they always do. They bullied the Browns at the line of scrimmage, disrupted their timing, and forced a young quarterback into uncomfortable situations. But what made this game particularly maddening was how predictable it felt. Cleveland finished with just 248 yards of total offense. And if you watched even a quarter of that game, you could feel how every inch of those yards felt like pulling teeth. The offense had no flow, no creativity, no spark. Every drive seemed to end the same way. A sack, a dropped pass, a blown block, or a 3rd and long that went nowhere. The Browns averaged a miserable 3.3 yards per play, a number that doesn't just reflect inefficiency. It reflects an offense completely out of rhythm with itself. Even worse, they went 0-4-3 in the red zone. 0 touchdowns, despite getting 3 chances inside the Steelers' 20. That's not just bad execution, that's a failure of design. In the NFL, red zone opportunities are gold. When you squander them repeatedly, you're telling the world that you don't know how to finish, that you don't have an identity. And that's exactly the problem with Cleveland. What is this offense trying to be? Are they a ground-and-pound team trying to wear you down with a bruising run game? Or are they a pass-heavy unit trying to showcase Dillon Gabriel's arm talent? The answer, sadly, seems to be neither. They're stuck in a murky in-between, unsure of their strengths and terrified of their weaknesses. The running game, once a proud hallmark of this franchise, has completely evaporated. Against Pittsburgh, the Browns managed just 65 yards on the ground, a shocking number when you consider that a few weeks ago, there were glimpses of life in that department. Quinton Judkins, the rookie running back who showed flashes of explosiveness earlier in the season, looked stranded. Every carry seemed to die behind the line of scrimmage. There were no holes, no push, no daylight. That's not on Judkins. That's on an offensive line that's been gutted by injuries and a scheme that's done nothing to protect its young players. Kevin Stefanski's play calling didn't help either. Fans have defended him in the past, pointing to his ability to scheme receivers open and his reputation as a quarterback whisperer. But against the Steelers, it felt like Stefanski was coaching scared and stubborn at the same time. Rookie Dillon Gabriel, who, to his credit, showed grit and toughness, was asked to throw 52 times. 52. Against a defense that lives to feast on young quarterbacks. It was almost masochistic. The Browns kept dropping back, even as the pocket collapsed over and over again, even as Gabriel took hit after hit. There was no adjustment. No attempt to establish rhythm with short passes, no commitment to the run despite the struggles. It was as if Stefanski had decided before kickoff that he was going to win this game his way, no matter what the defense gave him. And then there's the offensive line, or what's left of it. Both starting tackles are hurt, and the situation got even worse when Jack Conklin went down again with a concussion against Pittsburgh. It's one thing to have injuries. It's another when those injuries completely redefine your identity. The Steelers didn't just pressure Gabriel, they terrorized him. 6 sacks, 14 quarterback hits, 24 pressures. That's not football, that's survival mode. You can't evaluate a rookie quarterback under those conditions. You can't expect a running back to produce when there's no push at the line. You can't even fairly judge your play caller when he's forced to design around a crumbling front 5. But you can question why adjustments aren't being made to protect the offense from itself. It's hard to watch, because there are glimmers of talent on this roster. Gabriel, for all his inexperience, has shown moments of poise. Judkins runs hard. The wide receivers have potential, even if they've struggled to separate. But all that potential is being wasted in a system that feels outdated and predictable. There's no sense of rhythm, no sense of balance. One drive might feature 3 straight passes. The next, a desperate attempt to establish the run that's immediately abandoned after one stuffed carry. There's no sequencing, no setup to make a defense think twice. It's all reactionary football. Now, looming over all of this is next Sunday's game against the Miami Dolphins. And make no mistake, that's a defining moment for this offense. The Dolphins, for all their offensive firepower, have been terrible defensively this year. They're near the bottom in almost every defensive category that matters. They're dead last in rushing defense, giving up nearly 170 yards per game. They're 30th in total defense and 28th in scoring defense, allowing nearly 29 points a game. On paper, that should be exactly what the Browns need: a chance to exhale, to find rhythm, to build confidence. But that's the problem. If they can't move the ball against this defense, if they can't score against a team that everyone else has shredded, then it's time to hit the panic button. This Miami game isn't just another week. It's a mirror. It's going to show the Browns who they really are. Because if you can't find success against the league's worst defense, then it's not about the opponent anymore. It's about you. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry have built this roster together. And if the offense fails again on Sunday, the questions about their future will only get louder. The fans are running out of patience. You can feel it in the air, the tension in every home game. The Browns are supposed to be competitive, not just scraping by. They're supposed to be a team on the rise, not one still searching for its offensive identity halfway through the season. What makes this stretch even more painful is how close the Browns often are to turning the corner, and then they self-destruct. One drive will show promise, a nice completion, a creative play call, a well-timed run. Then comes a penalty, a sack, or a miscommunication that kills it instantly. It's like watching a movie that keeps resetting halfway through the climax. Every week, you wait for the turning point, the breakout performance that says, okay, now they've figured it out. But it never comes. Instead, it's the same mistakes, the same frustrations, the same hollow post-game quotes about execution and cleaning things up. There's also a psychological toll here. You can see it in the player's body language. Gabriel, for all his confidence, is starting to look rattled. He's getting hit constantly, and that does something to a young quarterback's rhythm and confidence. Judkins is running into walls, trying to make something out of nothing. The receivers are pressing, trying to make big plays instead of just making smart ones. When an offense collectively loses faith in itself, you can feel it. Every mistake feels bigger. Every missed opportunity lingers longer. And right now, the Browns are playing like a team haunted by their own expectations. Stefanski, to his credit, isn't running from the criticism. But at some point, accountability has to turn into change. Maybe that means simplifying the offense. Maybe it means leaning on the run game no matter how ugly it looks early. Maybe it means trusting Gabriel less and giving him more support through play design. Whatever it is, it can't be more of the same. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's exactly what this Browns offense has been doing. Next Sunday will tell us a lot. The Dolphins are beatable. Their defense is porous. The Browns will be at home, where they've historically played better under Stefanski. The crowd will be behind them, at least at the start. But if the offense sputters again, if the same lifeless patterns reappear, those boos will come fast. And at that point, the conversation won't just be about play calling or injuries. It'll be about whether this coaching staff and front office are truly capable of leading this team forward. Cleveland's offense doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't even need to be explosive. It just needs to function. It needs to look like a unit that has a plan, that can sustain drives, that can finish possessions with points. Right now, it's a broken machine, every gear turning out of sync, every adjustment too late. The fans can handle losing if there's progress. What they can't handle is watching the same collapse unfold week after week. So yes, something needs to change. Whether it's the scheme, the philosophy, or the personnel, the Browns can't keep walking this same path. Because if they do, this offense's struggles won't just continue. They'll define the entire season. And if that happens, there might not be an easy way back. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Man, if you thought the Browns offseason was going to be calm and steady, think again, because what's coming out of Cleveland right now is shaking things to the core. Rumors, whispers, and outright shocks have been circulating, and the latest bombshell comes straight from one of the team's most impactful voices, CHUBB himself. That's right, Nick CHUBB, the powerhouse running back who has carried Cleveland on his back for years, has dropped a statement that has set the Browns fan base on fire. According to insiders, and what's quickly spreading across social media, CHUBB reportedly said that his return to the team could actually spell the end of the union in Cleveland. Pause for a second and let that sink in. The guy who has been a cornerstone of the Browns offense, the guy who has bulldozed through defenses and consistently been the heartbeat of this team, is suggesting that coming back might not be as simple or as desirable as we all thought. And if there's anything in sports that makes headlines faster than a touchdown run in the fourth quarter, it's a comment like that. Now, let's unpack this a little bit. On the surface, it sounds almost impossible to imagine CHUBB, arguably one of the most beloved and respected players in Cleveland, as a potential disruptor. But that's exactly what insiders are hinting at. The murmurs coming out of the locker room suggest that the dynamics in Cleveland have shifted significantly. You've got new leadership, new faces in the front office, and a roster that has evolved in ways that might not align perfectly with CHUBB's vision, or maybe his expectations. There's talk that bringing CHUBB back could reignite old tensions, stir up competition for touches, or even upset the balance that this team has been trying to carefully build. Remember, football is as much about locker room chemistry as it is about skill on the field, and CHUBB's candid statement seems to suggest he's aware of the potential ripple effects. It's rare to hear a player speak so openly about the interpersonal dynamics of a team, which is why this is resonating so strongly with fans, analysts, and the league at large. And you know how these things snowball. One comment turns into speculation, speculation turns into debate, and before you know it, we're all watching the Browns' potential offseason moves under a microscope. There's already chatter about what this could mean for the coaching staff. If CHUBB were to return under these conditions, would the coaches be able to manage the tension, maintain morale, and still run the kind of high-powered offense that CHUBB is known for? Or would his presence, as much as fans love him, actually create friction with emerging stars or players who have stepped up in his absence? It's a delicate balance, and the fact that CHUBB himself is acknowledging it publicly only adds fuel to the fire. The rumor mills are buzzing, and you can practically hear the debates on sports shows, podcasts, and Twitter threads. Some say that CHUBB is just being strategic, sending a message to the front office about his importance and negotiating leverage. Others argue that he's genuinely worried about the team's cohesion, and maybe he's thinking about his own legacy and how he fits into the long-term picture. Here's where it gets even more intriguing. Sources close to the Browns indicate that there are factions within the team, players, and even staff, who have mixed feelings about CHUBB's potential return. On one side, you have the hardcore supporters who believe that no matter what, having CHUBB back is an automatic upgrade. The team gains a proven elite back, someone who can change games and elevate the entire offense. On the other side, you've got a group that sees the potential pitfalls, disruptions to the chemistry, changes in snap distribution, and the inevitable scrutiny from the media that comes with high-profile players. And if CHUBB's statement is anything to go by, he seems to be aware of both sides of that coin. He's essentially warning that his presence isn't a guaranteed panacea, that it could come at a cost. That's not something we hear every day. Typically, players talk about their love for the game, the team, or the city, but rarely do they voice concerns about internal discord so openly. It's almost cinematic in the sense that it feels like a plot twist in a story we've been following for years. Let's also consider the timing. The NFL offseason is a strategic chessboard, and any hint of tension or potential fallout can ripple into draft picks, trades, and contract negotiations. CHUBB's comments have likely already caught the attention of rival teams, agents, and maybe even the league office. Everyone wants to know if this is a negotiation tactic, a genuine concern, or a combination of both. Meanwhile, Browns fans are left in a state of suspense, wondering what this means for their team's identity. Are we looking at a scenario where the franchise decides to pivot around younger talent instead of bringing back a veteran star? Or is this just a storm of words that will calm once everyone sits down and figures out the next steps? It's hard to tell, and that's exactly why the rumor is so tantalizing. The tension, the drama, the what-ifs are all playing out in real time. And while we're speculating, Let's not forget CHUBB's impact on the field. Statistically, he's been nothing short of remarkable. Season after season, he's been a workhorse, a reliable offensive weapon, and a player who makes defenses rethink their entire approach. His absence would be felt, certainly, but it's the implied threat to locker room unity that makes this so explosive. Could the Browns survive a return that destabilizes internal alliances? Could the coaches and GM find a way to reintegrate him without fracturing relationships that have been painstakingly nurtured over the past seasons? These are the kinds of questions that make this story irresistible, and they're exactly why fans, pundits, and insiders are glued to every word, every hint, and every possible development. And don't underestimate the human element. CHUBB isn't just a player. He's a person with pride, ambition, and a sense of loyalty. His statement suggests he's weighing all the angles: his career, the team's trajectory, and the potential for conflict. That adds a layer of authenticity and complexity to the rumor that you don't always get. We're not just talking stats and highlights. We're talking personalities, egos, and relationships that could redefine the future of the Browns. And in sports, as in life, those dynamics often determine more than any playbook ever could. So, here's the bottom line. Cleveland is in the middle of a whirlwind, and CHUBB's comments have lit the fuse. Fans are debating online, insiders are whispering, and the league is paying attention. Whether he returns or not, the conversation itself has already impacted the narrative of this team. And while some may dismiss it as off-season drama, the truth is, when a player of CHUBB's caliber speaks with this level of candor, it demands attention. It's not just a rumor. It's a signal, a warning, and a reminder that football isn't just played on the field. It's played in the locker room, in the front office, and in the hearts and minds of the players themselves. And if you're following the Browns, you can bet this story is far from over. It's only going to get louder, more heated, and more consequential as the weeks go by. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan. Hit subscribe and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!